Ruth is a hero of the faith. Her story is one full of love and loyalty, full of courage and faith. It's only a short story in the Bible, but for many people, Ruth is their hero of their faith and the story that stands out from all the other Bible stories. And in many ways, her story is our story too, although it reaches heights that we find hard to attain, and so it becomes for us an inspirational story. Ruth is a hero of the faith. There are three things that make her story stand out even more. First of all, it's played out against a background of difficult life experiences and lots of sadness. Ruth is the daughter-in-law of Naomi, and Naomi had come to live in Moab with her husband and two sons because of famine in Bethlehem, their hometown. And Ruth had married Mahlon, who was one of Naomi's sons. Mahlon's father died, and then Mahlon and his brother both themselves died after only 10 years of marriage with Ruth. And so fairly young in her life, Ruth is widowed, and her mother-in-law and her sister-in-law are all widows together. And life is hard for them in that respect, and they have to navigate their way through much of that darkness and sadness in their lives. And secondly, she becomes a stranger because Naomi decides to go home to Bethlehem, where the famine is over and where she has at least some family. And Ruth is determined that she's going to go with Naomi despite Naomi's protestations. And so Ruth becomes a stranger in a foreign land, town of Bethlehem, at a time when strangers weren't always made to feel welcome in that kind of place. And then thirdly, she's a woman. And even more than 3,000 years after the story of Ruth in our society, which we claim to be enlightened, we still haven't completely solved the problem of equality. And there are still times and places where, in our society, where women are very much second-class citizens. And in Ruth's culture and time, women were very much dependent on others, particularly men, for their safety and for their well-being. And so Ruth is a woman in that kind of culture, and against these three things, she lives out her life of faith and love and loyalty. And the expression of that love and loyalty comes fairly early on in the story when Naomi is trying to persuade Ruth to stay in her own country. And Ruth says to Naomi, where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. And that profession of loyalty to Naomi is profound. And it also becomes a profession of loyalty to God as well. And a declaration of Ruth's faith. Now, the story has a happy ending for Ruth. And she is, in the whole of the Bible story, in a very privileged place. She becomes the great-grandmother of the great King David, and she's also found in the family ancestry of the Lord Jesus Christ. But for herself, her story stands out as a great individual, a woman of faith, a woman of love and loyalty to her family, a woman whose courage stands out against the background that we've tried to describe. She is a real hero of the faith, and our world today needs these same kinds of qualities that Ruth demonstrates. Our world needs love and loyalty, needs courage, needs faith against lots of different dark backgrounds that people are trying to cope with. And so Ruth's story just stands out for me as one of the great Bible stories, as someone with whom we can identify, someone whose story for us is inspirational. She is a real hero of the faith, and her story is one that we should learn and know and rejoice in abundantly.